I'm going to call this meeting to order. This is the Ad-Hoc Curbside Trash Committee meeting on Thursday, April 6th, 6 p.m. in the Veterans Room. Roll call, Councilor Marquetti is here. Councilor Steves is on his way. Health Director Inspector Daniel Wasuik is on his way as well. We had another meeting we were at. Board of Health member Daniel Grabowski.
Here.
Citizen member Kevin Buxton.
Present.
Steve Gregoire.
Present.
Mark Latoy.
Here.
Kathy Grenier.
Here.
First order of biz are minutes of the March 16th, 2023. Everybody have a chance to look at them?
Yep.
Everything okay with them?
I didn't receive a copy, so.
There you go. Duly noted.
You want to take a minute to look at them? That's fine. I pretty much follow, I'm recording it, so everybody knows I am recording the meeting, so I'm kind of following it along. I didn't go too verbatim, but I
No, that's
got
good, Mike.
It looked good.
the gist of everything.
Yep.
So I think you could tell by the end I was just saying, further discussion. I was getting tired.
Yep.
Yeah, I'll go with the committees.
You can
All
hang
right.
on to that, we'll give you that. But
All those in favor of
Give me
accepting the
something to
minutes?
read. There you
All right,
go.
thank you.
You know where to read it.
So our next agenda item is to make a recommendation to the town council on the options for paying for town-wide curbside trash collection in Southbridge. Before we start doing any votes, I just want to do a quick recap of what we've talked about so far. And then I'd like everybody, if you'd like to speak, that's fine. Back in November, we started this committee. Our charge was basically just to explore pay-as-you-throw. That was all.
Sorry.
That was our only charge. However, after discussions, it became apparent that pay-as-you-throw program would not be enough to cover the costs. So we started looking at other costs, such as a property tax, flat fee enterprise fund, or a user fee pay-as-you-throw. In December, our first order of business was the discussion of the survey to send out with the census. The survey was created. We also, the IT department created the website. Excuse me. And we also talked about building issues with the assessor's office. By January, we were discussing the RFP draft, the creation of an enterprise fund with McCall and Harnois. Ms. Harnois made some comments about associating an enterprise fund for curbside would be self-sustaining. Funding would cover all expenses. She also thought it would be easier to do a tax general fund because of her concerns about enforcement. What happens if people don't pay? Then later in January, Ms. Congdon then discussed pay-as-you-throw options, explained how it worked, cost of the bags, and savings. We started the discussion of a flat fee. Mr. Gregoire presented a draft of his plan. By the end of January, there was an update on RFP. Ms. Congdon raised the billing issue again, billing department, private billing, staffing issues. We were talking about a potential cost to residents for bags. We spoke about possibly using some royalty funds, which right now is at 3.9 million. There was a discussion with on Mr. Gregoire's funding options. In February, survey results started to come in. We spoke about user fees were number 1, which is a pay-as-you-throw bag. Taxes was number 2, flat fee was number 3. Most of the respondents were homeowners and renters. Most of the town information was gathered from mailers, social media, and the town websites. Many residents attended our meetings and said they did not have enough information about the costs to make a decision, and there were questions about the toters. We are keeping the toters. In March, Waste Zero representative came here and gave us a presentation on the bag program. There was further discussion on the RFP. We had 3 interested haulers at the time, Casella, Waste Management, and Republic. We also talked about the survey results again. User fee was again number 1, flat fee became number 2, and taxes was number 3. I went out in March and talked to the seniors, I talked to Latino groups, I talked to the Downtown Partnership, Ms. Congdon was there, Mr. Grabowski was there at the meetings. I reached out to the landlords, and I've reached out to the churches about this program. March 16th, we approved applying for a community compact grant for a cost-benefit analysis. If we end up doing a flat fee enterprise fund, we are going to have a benefit analysis done on what it would take to start an enterprise fund. We had a presentation on billing from Francine Farland. We looked at the user survey results again. User fee was still number one. It's been number one all along. Taxes and flat fee were pretty close to each other. Again, we discussion of the RFP. We did a straw poll. Since our last meeting, we have received additional RFPs and additional updates on the survey. My plan is to address the council Monday, April 10th at 7 p.m. If any of the committee members want to attend that meeting, you are welcome to attend. I'd welcome you to be there, and I will let you, I think you should all, if you want to speak to the council, I think that is, would be a good idea. Ms. Congdon, if you would like to be there, it might be beneficial if you were there as well. I believe that this committee is on schedule. According to my notes from our very first meeting, you had scheduled April to look at the RFP in details. April 10th will be my report to the council. So here we are tonight. We're going to speak about what this committee wants to do as far as the different programs. So I've taken a look at all the programs, and I'll let everybody speak as well. We looked at the user fee where the town would purchase town bags, such as colored bags with a town seal. We talked about the cost and ranges from $1.50 to $2.50 for a 33-gallon bag, $1 to $1.25 for a smaller bag. The bags are usually sold in 10-bag rolls. We would be keeping the toters, so the bags that the residents would purchase would go inside the toters. The pay-as-you-throw saves the town money by reducing trash. It reduces disposal costs. They say that there's most communities that start this, they see a 30% drop in their trash. Most of the residents who responded to this survey overwhelmingly chose pay-as-you-throw as an option. But as we know, pay-as-you-throw would not be enough to cover the entire cost of our utility bill. The trash program. So then we looked at a flat fee, such as a utility bill, would be paid quarterly like water and sewer. The pros of a flat fee is that it's fairer than a property tax. It's not based on your property values. If you have 3 apartments, there would be 3 bills, correct?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It also is a dedicated funding source. The con, in my opinion, to a flat fee per state law, homeowners can opt out. The more residents opt out, potentially the greater cost of those who don't opt out. It's also difficult for the hauler to set a price when he's not sure of the number of people that are in the program. However, a homeowner, if he does opt out, would have to provide proof that their trash is being picked up by a licensed private hauler. And I did have some questions about that. If they have a dumpster, is that enough proof? Or if they use a transfer station, is that proof enough that they...
They need to give you a receipt of where they're going.
All right.
And it really cannot be, you can't have an illegal transfer station to say they're bringing it to work. That's not
And then the final option is a property tax. Homeowners cannot opt out. Curbside program is paid through property taxes. Every homeowner pays, including the businesses. The pros of it is that the trash will get picked up. The con, it's based on the value of your home. Whether you have 1 family or 3 family, you all pay the same. The issue with flat fee and property taxes is that there's no incentive to reduce the trash. So it's good to have a bag program to help reduce the trash. So now I'll go around the room, and if anybody wants to speak, go right ahead. We'll start with you, Mr. Grolowski.
Just for the reasons you said about the opting out, people can opt out, that really scares me, because you know people are gonna do that.
Can I ask?
I just rather have it on the taxes. I don't care what my neighbor's house is worth. I just want peace of mind knowing that my trash is gonna get picked up.
The one reason why that's really I've never had a problem where it hasn't been picked up. If you have a flat fee, it's gonna work out. It's most of the time when we have issues with communities that haven't had a program, like Oxford does not have a town program. Not knowing how many households is an issue when they were looking at going to a curbside program. You have carts on the ground. We know how many households are in town. That is, so a hauler is not coming in here blindsided going, oh, is this gonna be this many households or that many households because you have private subscription. That is not the case for Southbridge. The cost between your contract cost and a private subscription is dramatic. So residents that choose not to participate, it's only gonna be a very few, and it's very unlikely, and really would not impact the cost that greatly if you're just having a few households off.
So if it goes to the flat fee, so basically the town council hammers this out and that's it, and then it goes to the people. Whereas, so that, in other words, the people don't have any say about that other than what the town council gives them. Am I correct?
If it goes to a tax,
If
it
it
will
goes to
have
a
to
tax-
go on a ballot.
Right, other than that, it doesn't go on a ballot.
It does not.
So you're telling people in this town, this is the trash, this is the way it is.
If it's a flat fee,
Right,
enterprise
it's a flat
fund,
fee.
there is no vote by the resident.
What happens if taxes get shot down at council?
And then we start over.
No, you can't start over. You go to private trash. Tell the truth. Private trash.
All right.
And,
And that's a mess, so you can't do that.
So we can't start over?
You can't start. There's not enough time.
and the most important, but either way, whatever we decide, I'll go with, because I'm not gonna, whatever the majority of the people vote for, that's what I'll go with, because I have no choice. But the real biggest thing is about the enforcement of all this. Because right now, we don't have the recycling, because we have these bins that are overfilled, because nobody, you know, you can see the bottles coming out of the trash. Who's gonna take care of that? So we
So
have.
if you go with the pay-as-you-throw bag program in a cart, then when it gets flipped over, you will see what your color that you picked, and then they write down what it is. So I just did a video on that for what is being done in Fall River and in Upton, and so those two communities have that, and they can easily. And she writes a letter and
Yeah,
says
but who's gonna
automatically.
Who's gonna do that?
Right, there needs to be another person. When
So
we
you-
kind
so
of
you-
talked about there,
you're gonna have to
there
put
need to
someone-
have at least two people.
So you're gonna have to
Somebody-
hire somebody.
We already discussed that. That was
Okay,
before. Of two
but I just wanna
positions.
make everything clear, just so I know what's going on.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much it.
Okay. Mr. Glover?
So I think my point has been quasi-consistent along the way here. I was looking at a few options as far as taxes and what a flat fee would look like, and just, a real quick number, if the town's budget, and correct me if I'm wrong, is in and around $50 million, right? Is that about right? The annual operating budget for the town?
69, I believe.
Is it higher than that? Okay,
So,
okay. So we're looking at like
Give me just one number and I can help you.
We're looking at like a 3% tax increase approximately to raise $2 million. So on a $400,000 house, which a lot of the nice houses in this town are worth with this market, $400,000, you're gonna pay an extra 1,600, no, 3% less than that. $1,300 a year in tax for your average single-family home, for your one bag of trash. And your average multifamily, which has a lower value because they just don't look as nice, they're gonna pay $800 a year, $800 for trash. Completely unfair in my opinion. The more equitable option would be a flat fee. I've got some different ideas on what a flat fee would look like, but in the end, it won't be my choice. And I'm really torn down the line, even walking in here tonight, if we should go straight flat fee or flat fee with a partial offset in bags. I like the idea of adding bags to it because it gives people that don't use as much trash a chance to save on the program. However, the demographic in this town bothers me. I think you're gonna have people trying to find ways to cheat the system or plain old dumping it on the sidewalk. It worries me. I know I'm not gonna be that way, and most of us here in the room aren't gonna be that way. But we all know who we're talking about here. And I don't wanna see that happen, so I'm torn whether I wanna go or vote for a flat fee or a flat fee with bags. But even though, Dan, I know we don't agree on this, but I think it's great that we're pretty civil up here.
Right.
And I thank you for that.
Absolutely.
That's all I have.
all right. Kathy?
I'm still torn. I mean, we raise the taxes, working with the elderly like I do, nobody can afford it.
I'm sorry,
They
what?
just can't. And,
What number would you
I
like?
mean, I'm thinking more along the lines at this point that Steve is, with maybe a flat fee if we can keep that low and go with the bags as well.
Yeah.
I mean, I
Hold
can't
on.
afford an increase in taxes like that
Could you
either.
not talk while somebody else is speaking,
I
please?
mean, I couldn't afford an increase in taxes like that either. I mean, what the heck, I'm still a part, I'm part of the tax rebate program, and I'm, you know, trying to get my hours in, just so I can get something taken off, to help decrease that cost. But if we have to go, I'm with both at that point. And I know that most of the seniors we've talked to have said no. They'd just rather do it with the taxes, because they just can't get out there to do it any other way. And they can't afford it. It's a hard cross, and, I mean, if we only knew how many seniors we did have in this town as far as, you know, who could and who couldn't afford it. Those that I've talked to can't.
Well, we got 4 up here.
Well, yeah, it's true.
And their houses are nice and
You all
stuff.
set? Are you all set,
Just
Kathy?
And their assessment shows.
Are you all set, Kathy?
Yes, I am.
Council Steves, we're talking about the different plans, what you wanna go with.
No.
We haven't voted yet, we're just
Okay.
speaking about it.
Well, I'm inclined to think of, as I said before, I tend to like the idea of doing the bags, but I can understand what a lot of people are saying, and unfortunately I walked in the middle of the conversation because I was upstairs. But from the previous conversations we've had, I can also understand that obviously we need some sort of a funding that will cover pretty much everybody, because the costs that, and I totally understand what you're saying, Kathy, about there's so many people out there who do not really, I don't think they really know how much they can afford, and a lot of people already can't afford it. I know I can't. It's,
We're not voting yet, we're just talking.
yeah,
Right.
I know, I get it. And some of the numbers we've already been throwing around, just even with the tax rates that we've seen to date, plus some of the other stuff that we know is coming down the pike, are going to kill a whole bunch of people. But we need to do all of this stuff, so how do we balance these needs? That's really the kind of crisis we're in right now.
Okay. You all set?
For the moment.
All right.
I think you go to,
Well,
Wilson?
I'm in favor of the service charge or flat fee. I'm in favor of at least some kind of escalation for multifamilies, even if it's a small amount. In other words, if and when we get the numbers and we can actually figure out what it's costing a single-family home, let's say if it's costing a single-family home $50 a quarter, 2 families, they should be paying 55, just a 10% increase. The
Per
three
unit.
family, right,
Per
3
unit.
families
Per unit.
per unit. 3 families, same situation, just 55. At least you're making that extra additional money for these multifamilies. But then again, we need to look at the percentage. How many what percentage of single families and multifamilies do we have? How many units do we have in multifamilies? And how will that change the numbers? As far as the service fee, I think the service fee should cover 95% of the cost of the RFP. The bags, which I will agree, I cannot deny that bags would correct the trash problem we've had in this town ever since we've started curbside pickup. So I have to in some way say, yes, it has to be a very low-cost bag.
Yeah, agree.
That's one of the reasons why we gather all our revenue we need in the service fee.
Right.
And the bags are just, maybe can be considered inflation control for, as the enterprise fund builds up, we have additional cash to cover either inflation or additional operations like transfer stations, whatever. But as far as taxes go, the only reason I see a tax item in the trash pickup is if you want to guesstimate, just guesstimate what it costs for the municipal properties to be picked up. Yes, you could put a line item for municipal trash pickup
Right.
and add that to the enterprise fund. But it shouldn't be an amount that needs to go to the voters. It should just be a line item. and that's pretty much where I stand.
Okay. Mark?
I think that, I don't know, for being on my first committee, there's a lot of stuff that went through my head. First is that I've seen Irene and I've seen the person from Waste Zero come here, and they're salesmen for the bag program. They're funded by bags.
I'm not funded by bags.
You're pushing the bag program. I've seen the bag program be pushed. I've also heard about a camera on the top of garbage truck for the first time ever that can spot a tick on a squirrel's behind from 100 yards. How have we not enforced anything now?
Yeah.
It's funny, but it's not. How have we not enforced one thing right now? And you're telling me by changing the color of our bag, all of a sudden this do-it-all camera is gonna solve all of Southbridge's trash problems?
No, they won't.
There's no way. That bag is going in there and it's going off, and now we have bags, which they can change the rate on the bags, and you have something else, whether it's a flat fee or taxes. Now you have two different animals that the town can raise. That you gave the town 2 ways to raise money. They can raise the bags if there's a shortfall, or they can change the fee, whether it's taxes or a flat fee, it can be raised. You gave the town 2 ways to do it. I think that there's a gentleman here that stated somebody has lived somewhere else and they have property here. That person doesn't want to see the property tax go up. If it's a flat fee, they can opt out. That would be one of the times that a flat fee, somebody would be able to opt out. I think they should have the option. I also think that if you have 10 people that are applying for a service and you have one person trying to do a private service, that there's no way that that one person is going to pay less than the 10 people. It's impossible. It doesn't, it's, you'd be throwing money out just to spite the system. That's pretty much my thing. As far as the multifamilies, I don't feel bad if everybody pays their fair share.
No, I don't.
It's about time. I don't feel bad. I lost my dashboard coming down Dennison Drive, so I'd like to find a way for pavement to go there, and making the taxes so ridiculous that we can't do it. You know, anybody here that wants to have the taxes raised doesn't have a problem with our roads or infrastructure. That's it.
That's it, all right. Mr. Witsuik, you came in late. Did you want to speak to this at all?
Pertaining to what are we discussing?
We're just discussing the different options. That's all.
The options. In respect to my opinion, in all fairness, I thought about this, and I look at the flat fee as being advantageous, and being fair, equitable, and the best solution. Now, more importantly, I look at the options in respect to what would mitigate the amount of trouble, the amount of trash accumulation, the amount of non-compliance. And in respect to any of those changes, I personally feel that this is gonna be a challenge in coming to my department. And I think it's gonna be a challenge in many different levels and with many different variables, but ultimately, to conclude, it's going to be a challenge that presents itself. We'll face this challenge and be able to do it, but the significance of it is there, and it's going to be there. We recognize that challenge is going to have to be met. Whether it's going to be completely unprecedented, that's the question, at what level, as you said. But taking into the variables and the factors, I feel that a flat fee associated will make it more fair and will ultimately not increase the amount of non-compliance, which leads to trouble. That's my honest opinion.
Okay, thank you. All right, but before I go around the room, Mr. Town Manager, is Tim still here? Did you want to speak to this?
Yes, yeah, you asked us to come in and provide information on what we received on the request for proposals that you mentioned,
Thank
so
you.
I'll pass these out.
Thank you, sir.
Here, that's mine.
Thank you.
Okay, so as you mentioned, Councilor Marquetti, that on February 17th, we did advertise for a request for proposals. We received 2 proposals to date from firms capable of providing the services requested. One proposal was from Casella Waste Management, obviously who's currently providing the services, and the second one is from Waste Management. We've had a series of questions. We've had a few rounds of interviews regarding questions and clarification on the proposals. Since this is not a project subject to 30B, the town has the ability to negotiate a final contract. The review committee expects that'll occur over the next month or so. But we do want to give you the information that we had from what has been perceived. The costs received in these proposals range from $2.1 million to $2.24 million. These costs are for the base cost for the first year, beginning March 25th, 2024, of curbside collection for municipal and solid waste, recyclables, and yard waste from the residents of the town and the town facilities that were based and listed in the RFP. At this time, and for the purpose of budgeting, as you discuss the best way to fund this, we recommend that the town budget $2.35 million, which is the high end of the range. It includes a 5% contingency. And so, I don't know, Anna, if you have anything to add. This was a subcommittee or a committee, review committee of myself, Anna, and Mike Scipione from Weston and Sampson.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I can add anything. If there's any questions, I guess we could answer questions.
So have you had a chance to think at all about what this would cost each resident, each homeowner? You haven't even really couldn't break it up that way yet?
We haven't really done that. In other words, it would be easy enough to do.
I just need the number.
What?
I just need the collection number, what is.
Which is 2.35 million.
That's the whole thing, that's including disposal.
That's the question.
And my problem is my computer is, so that's the full budget. We were estimating about 2 million, and then this is saying 2.5, 2.35.
But even the flat fee is gonna be responsible for the disposal cost.
Yeah,
So.
but it needs to be broken down,
Oh.
just, for some reason, my computer is,
I got a calculator.
no, I have it here, it's just, I don't know why I'm stuck.
I'm just wondering,
You
2.3.
freaking thing. Just get rid of my squares. I miss my mouse, it's not letting me do anything. Yeah, it's all in here, I have it all done. Just need, can you just get rid of my box?
All right, well, while we're waiting on that, I'm gonna go around the room. Any residents have any questions? I'm gonna go with Kevin first.
First, thank you for doing this, it's been a long process, but Dan hit on it and Kevin's about to hit on it also. My biggest thing is no matter which way the town decides to go on this,
Okay, and what's the collection?
after it goes upstairs and they make the decision, whichever one they go for, is it your committee or who does it that sets the enforcement? If people don't enforce it and
I don't know what
we're
just
having problems now, he's having problems with it, nothing's happening, Catherine spoke about it earlier, that night on the side of the road over there, it's been there for 3.5 months. The biggest problem with this town is enforcement, nobody enforces everything, but we seem to be hiring more people in departments.
You have to leave the town hall.
But, exactly, thank you, but nothing's getting done about
She's
it.
saying,
Well, part of the program.
So is that your
I
department?
We are just going to recommend what type of program,
How do we pay for
spend,
that?
how are we gonna pay for
Push
it?
people go outside and talk about it, can you answer please?
We are just going to recommend what, mechanism for paying for the program. It's up to the town leaders to put together a program for enforcement, and, that's probably gonna be part of whatever program we choose. If we go with a flat fee, it'll be covered by the enterprise fee.
Enforcement comes with every bag.
So, part of the bag program, some of the enforcement, not all of it, but some of it will be done by the people who provide us with the bags. They would be sending out letters to telling people, you have not complied. The truck is supposed to have a camera on it, which they tell us can see if there's a bag. Some communities have done away with toters, so the bags are right out there and they can see the color of the
we're not
bag.
doing.
I don't have a problem with that myself, but we don't know yet what's gonna happen with our toters. I know that We've been told we're gonna keep the toters, but we don't know if we're gonna keep the toters or not.
In all due respect, but the way our bylaw is set right now, I believe we're supposed to have clear trash bags.
Actually, it doesn't say that, it just says trash bags. I looked it up a couple of days ago, it actually doesn't
Does
say.
say-
And it's the one on the website.
But
just
to
says
get back
trash
to your
bags, which is
point,
clear.
Hannah has been proposing to hiring 2 people in her department, which would be covered by the building.
I had this in.
Whichever
There
way.
we go, I mean,
Well, we have to hire somebody to enforce it. If you want it enforced, it has to be enforced. It's gonna be enforced by the hauler
That's right here.
and somebody
Yeah, no,
working
it's all
in the
set.
townhomes.
You just need to change the number.
thank you.
All right, George?
I think when you sent out your questionnaire,
How about you just put this on your.
the questionnaire kind of gave you, even though it's not mandated, but it gave you a mandate in which way to go.
Right.
And that's not in taxes. I don't think the tax is the way to go, because it's not actually a fair cost of the trash pickup for the whole community in a whole. And it's not fair to local industry to pay for a substantial cost of having their trash removed and then also pay it in their tax base. A user fee, enterprise fund, I think is the way to go, or pay-as-you-go. I know there was concern with pay-as-you-go is that we may not meet the necessary quote that is gonna be billed. But as I heard through the program, and a few times that I did come, that the pay-as-you-throw will pay for itself, and that the substantial loss of people saying we're not gonna do it, we're gonna go some elsewhere, is very low in numbers. So if you take the enterprise fund or a user's fee, I believe we've heard through here that 1 to 4 families, we're mandated, if you have some type of trash pickup, that they equally share the cost. So by using the user fee and writing into the regulation, per unit covers you up to a 4 family. So that single family home is gonna pay X amount of dollars, and that 4-family home is gonna pay the same amount of money per unit. And I think that's the way to go. The enforcement is going to come is 5 families and up. And they're gonna not even be part of this thing because the regulation is gonna force them into a dumpster. And the enforcement of that dumpster will become with the Board of Health. So it's determining how many units we have that are gonna be eligible for trash pickup, and then how many units are not gonna be eligible for trash pickup, and that'd be 5 families or more. And then industry and those 5 families are gonna either submit a letter saying this is how we handle our trash, and they're not gonna pay. So I just think it's important that the committee look at the user fee or the pay-as-you-go system.
The user fee, you've mixed it up a little bit. The
Yeah.
user fee is the pay-as-you-throw. It's
Okay.
the flat fee that is.
Okay, so
the
yes, the
enterprise
flat fee.
Yeah.
So
Well,
I
they
think
think
it's,
all
Hold on, hold on.
I think it's important to go either way. This way, it's equally shared by each unit.
Okay.
I think it's important because people don't want to pay more taxes. We got tax increase coming with the regular budget. You got the fire station coming online, and then if you go with taxes on the trash, you know what? People aren't gonna afford it.
You've got stormwater
All right.
coming in too.
Thank you, and thank you for the work that you've all done. It's been a hard process for you guys, and you guys should be commended for the work that you have done.
Thank you very much. Irene, did you want to say something?
Yeah, well, I just got the numbers, so now I can plug them in, and so I can kind of give you an idea of now that we have the 2.4 million here of the cost. So if you, this is not my computer, and it's a little thing here, so.
That's my computer.
I know. So the cost, we're talking about the amount of trash that we have of 4,500 pounds of trash, 4,550, 68 tons of trash. We're talking.
Wait, hold on.
No,
Hannah?
it's like 5,300 ton per year.
And that was the number that you gave last time. So. Okay, well, we can for $90 a ton. If you did flat fee, all right, you wanted to look at taxes. Taxes
Yeah,
as
look at all of them.
yeah, I'll look at just that. taxes with,
Go ahead.
taxes with pay as you throw, just wanted to kind of put that in, with the bags. You're using, your trash comes down about 20%. Residents get 2 sizes of bags. I'm just checking to see if anything went through. It has to go up more.
How does the trash come down 100% if we don't enforce it now?
I know, well.
I'm
we're
just
gonna have to-
mindful
The-
that a yellow bag can all of a sudden create enforcement. It's
It does
Like an
because, I need to go back.
Because they have to buy the bag.
Can I go
yeah,
back?
but they're buying a bag, but we're still not.
If
there's no enforcement.
if they do not enforce, so you see the bags in the container or people have the extra bags, then if it's not in the right bag, you get a fine right away. So the company said that they would do that for free right away.
Sure, sure. I have some recent pictures may I give to the committee just
Well,
for,
hold on, just hold on for
The
that.
landlord would get the
Let's
fee.
finish this conversation first.
No, because the tenant buys the bag.
So how that comes out to be is $1.2 million would need to be under the tax base. If
That's
you were
combined
using,
with
that's
the bags.
taxes and
And the bag.
bags. If you went with all bags, we're talking about $2.4 million has to be paid by
That's not gonna-
taxes.
that's not-
So if you're saying all taxes, then that whole bill, $2.24 million has to come from taxes. If you were going taxes with pay as you throw, with, the average resident would pay $195 with their 1.5 bags per week. So if you only use less than that, you use a smaller bag. If I'm saying if you use the large bag, 1.5 bags on average, then it would be $195
Per year.
per year. And then that's really all you would pay because the rest comes out of taxes. But the taxes would be the, what did I just say? $1.2 million. All
So what about?
right.
what
If
we-
you go with flat fee,
Which would still require an override.
but the flat
All right, so now the flat fee.
The flat fee, I'm just looking here to see how it comes out.
This is just flat fee or flat fee
Yeah,
and
flat
bags?
fee, wait a minute, I have to bring that up. Where is my flat fee? I'm sorry, I missed my mouse, I should have brought my mouse with me.
Yeah, you
So-
pay tax and pay flat fee.
Hold on.
Can I just ask if flat fee includes that they've separated out every apartment?
Yeah, this is per
unit.
one.
You've got the numbers on
Per
that?
unit.
Okay, per unit, alright. Just wanted to make sure,
Per unit.
because the numbers don't.
Well, because right now we even supply 4 and up to 6 family trash barrels because we don't enforce it. This is my thing is that
I think
like
it
the
covers
bag,
up-
Flat fee
because the colored bag is
Oh,
gonna
yeah, I
change
know.
that.
I'm looking at flat fee.
Well, there's only
Flat
66,
fee, flat fee.
6 families.
I know.
66
Flat fee and pay.
times
Okay, I'm
6.
gonna move around the room.
Okay.
I'm gonna come back to you, Irene.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
wait.
come back to you. Ms. Clemens, did you wanna say something?
Yeah, I love this, just mainly I'm glad you got some sort of number on the units, because that was the question I had back over a year ago. And I'm glad, again, thank you, like everybody else does to the committee, because you guys have, really stepped it up and gotten the information out. Still a little confused here, but got the information out. We've gone full circle too, from, taxes to flat fees with bags, to now back to flat fees. I find that very interesting, actually, because I was actually starting to lean towards flat fee and bag. But honestly, whichever way is gonna work. I take a little offense in some ways to listening to this non-enforcement thing, in the sense that there was a time when we enforced in this community.
Yes.
It wasn't that long ago, well, maybe it was now, because it's been a while since, but there was a time where we had some part-time enforcers
Yeah.
who went out and wrote tickets, and when the tickets started to roll and everybody got on board with understanding what they had to do and how they had to make their tenants comply, I'll continue to say this all the time, then suddenly we saw compliance. We saw trash in containers, we saw less trash,
Yep.
and it worked. And I took the side many times of landlords who I felt bad for because they had such high tickets, because their tenants were the deadbeats, not them. So just, being sure on that. So in a department in which gets bigger, smaller, bigger. I'm very confused, you know, health department, nothing against it at the moment, just saying, I don't see why we can't enforce. Maybe you'll need a couple of part-timers or something, people who don't need to have, you know, 401ks or whatever. Part-time people writing tickets, plain and simple.
That is the plan.
That should be
is what we were
easy,
talking
and that
about
should come out of the enterprise money that we're collecting in
That
some
is,
way,
that
shape,
is
or
the plan right now.
I understand, I'm just making it clear because the conversation that's been said around here, and multiple people have concerns about enforcement. I'm just stating, as a resident, as a former counselor, as someone who's sitting at these meetings, not just yours, but lots of meetings on lots of subject matters when it comes to trash, and somebody who calls the department and used to send pictures of non-compliant trash containers and such. It can be done, and once the curve is met again, then the people step up because they don't want those fines. So I'm just saying that can be done. As far as, I was concerned about Mark's comment about, we're giving them more ways to raise things. Well, clearly, it was discussed in here that obviously in the first year, you don't really know what's gonna happen, but with an enterprise fund, you set the rate, and with it, you know, depending on if you had bags or not, but if you just do a flat fee, you're gonna set the rate, and we should be able to know that it's within enough money, we should have a contingency in there, like our water sewer situation, we should know what the cost is from the hauler, we have a contract, it doesn't go up for whatever many years, or maybe it goes up, it's 2% or whatever, we should know, and there should be a reasonable expectation of that fee, what it needs to be, how it's gonna be raised. If it's bags, we don't know if the bags bring us the money, again, reasonable consideration, maybe we make extra, as was told to us a few meetings ago, in the first year, and then we can reduce it, but maybe we don't make enough and we have to go up a little. That's the nature of an enterprise fund. And yeah, there is that option that someone's gonna raise it, but in an enterprise fund, the money goes to what it is you're paying for, and that being the trash. So it's not gonna go in the tax coffers, it's not gonna get stuffed up, we're not gonna have council voting on how to spend it, because it belongs into the enterprise fund only for use, trash use. So, you know, again, just being clear as to those types of things. You mentioned, opting out, it's a state thing. We were told that a number of meetings ago. Unfortunately, to my concern, oh bummer, they can opt out, that stinks. However, they have to prove that they have a reputable hauler of some sort, a legal entity who's taking trash, and therefore then they have the right to opt out. But as you all state, the cost probably to opt out and just stay in, it's probably gonna be cheaper to stay in, so why opt out? As a matter of fact, the idea of having small businesses opt in is a much more lucrative thing to go after. Now, there's something for, whoever, you know, however this is
help our
run,
small business.
for future, to go after with a campaign saying, you have the ability now to get your trash picked up on trash day with everybody else, here's the cost. I think that will make money and maybe help reduce the average person's fee, just saying. Let's see, opt-in, enforcement, you know, a Sturbridge resident said to me, they couldn't understand, you know, Sturbridge has lots of things, but she sees 6 haulers going down her road, and she goes, I don't understand, I take all my things in my 12 different bins, and I go to the transfer station, which is free. She goes, I don't understand why these people, you know, there's so many haulers in Sturbridge, it is horrendous how many haulers are going down the road on the same given day. So just saying, from a local community who thinks, and she works, she's she's in this community in a manufacturing company in a high position, so you know she sees what's going on in Southbridge, and she was actually she was at the business meeting and heard the discussion, and was really surprised at the option Southbridge has, and thought it was a great thing. Wish Sturbridge had more like that. So just saying, what else? I go either way. You know, you guys think flat fee, I think it's great, you don't have to worry as much compliance, but I certainly hope we have compliance, we enforce it as far as containment and the mattresses and all that. We need to get out there, boots on the ground is what it's gonna take. Get out of this town hall, walk down the street and write a few tickets. It's very simple. You can write them all your way out of town and in town. But I think if we don't do that, nothing's gonna ever change. It did change. We got lazy again, and it's time to enforce again. It's just like being a parent with your children. And there was something else I was gonna say about all that, but I guess it's not so important that I didn't write it down. And
We'll come back to you if you want.
So thank you. I hope we get this accomplished really soon.
All right. Before I go to you, Kevin, Mr. Splain had his
I have a
hand up.
question for Irina.
Yeah,
So these numbers that you're giving us, it's, the first set of numbers you just gave us are based on our collections number, correct?
yeah.
So my question is how accurate is that collections number? that you
Well, that's the
calculated
number
today?
that we just received of the, you know, of what their collection cost would be, 1.7. I'm just doing the trash, yeah, and we'd have a reduction.
So my question is how accurate is that collections number?
And it will go up with years, you know, there is a 5%, right? It goes up every, there's a,
So my question is the number that you plugged in today,
yeah. I'm using the most updated number that I have,
where did you get that number?
that we just
It was
given.
based on the
Still
proposal.
$100,000.
They did the RFP, so they just got, that's the most updated number we have.
Is that number accurate?
I mean, it's not, that's the estimate that the company is giving us right now.
Right, in other words, we gave you the range of the proposals we have. There's still some room to negotiate with the final vendor for this. But that number we gave you is really a good number to use as you figure out the best way to pay for it.
Right, because my estimate was 1.3 million and really it's 1.7, you know, so that impacts a lot
Costs have gone
of
up.
changing numbers, yeah.
So
I'm
then
gonna
my
go
next,
with, I wanna go with Kevin. Oh, are you done?
yeah, the second part of the question is always, I like this flat rate thing. But the flat rate, we're trying to base it on multifamilies pay more and stuff. How accurate is that number that you're getting from the town as far as, do we even have that number?
We don't have that.
Francine actually has that, a lot of that information. She can tell you how many multifamilies there are.
That's what
I
I mean,
can't
is that,
really
is
hear
that
if it's
how that's
multiple
being?
conversations.
Yeah, I know.
That's what I'm trying to find out, if her giving us a number on that flat rate, how accurate is that number she's giving us?
All right. Hold on, guys.
That's what.
Kevin, go ahead, Buxton.
All right, on Mrs. Clements' comments about enforcement, last meeting, we heard about the D2 glitch. In other words, that there was some $70,000 worth of fines and tickets written out, but there was never an IT line item or something to make sure that fine got attached to that property. Is that still in existence?
We are going forward that we want to enact municipal charges lien. So when you want to identify ticketing is great, but it's been more show than substance here. Because all of these unpaid tickets, now, at the beginning when these were issued, years before my time, I'm sure they were effective. But with time, it became apparent that if you don't pay your ticket, there's no consequences. And I have significant amount of unpaid tickets. Tickets that were not even, that the individuals didn't even make the effort to appeal, they just didn't pay. So there was no follow-up. Now, with the enactment of a municipal charges lien, if those are unpaid, we can go to certain departments at the end of the year, meaning the health department, that issues these. And if they're unpaid, they will get stuck to your taxes, the owners, okay? And I have been down this road, in my experience, it works very well. It resonates with individuals, the word gets out, so to speak, and people take it seriously.
Okay.
But right now, we're deficient of that, and it's been problematic, and I have pictures to even substantiate a commonality that we face week to week.
Hold on now, hold on. I'm gonna let Kevin finish, and then we'll look at your pictures.
All right, but can I have an insurance from the health department and the town manager that municipal process to make sure the fines are tagged to the properties, gets done?
Yes,
ASAP?
I've identified,
Okay.
we've
And-
already moved with that.
Okay, and on bins and bags, the flat service fee would cover the bin. We always talk about the fact that any change we do to the common masses out there takes a lot of time, effort, and we still have people that don't comply, and it's been 17 years since we've been trying to comply. However, what if we, to avoid the confusion of bags, if we start by using the bin system and say, as long as your trash is fitting in the bin and you're paying your flat fee, your service fee, you're covered. However, in the future, we may end up going with bags. Giving people, so people understand there's not going to be any change now, but if you don't start following the rules,
Yeah.
doing your recycling, you're going to end up buying trash bags in the future.
So the problem
See-
with that is, first of all, the bags will help us reduce the cost. Second of all, a survey came back, an overwhelming amount of residents who returned the survey want bags.
Yeah.
So I think we
Okay.
should comply with what they wanted.
Then
What
I would,
percentage
that-
returned that survey?
The flat fee, the taxes were pretty close, you could go either way. We had over 1,600 people respond, I think that's a pretty good poll of what the residents in this town want.
So just tell me how the bag makes the difference. I mean, that's where I'm
It'll
stuck.
help offset the cost.
Yeah, but
The more
it's-
you put in a bag, the more bags you have to buy, you will recycle more.
Yeah, but
Also, you're paying for the bags, so that goes into the revenue stream.
It's a psychological thing that when you
It's also
pay
the
for
revenue
something,
thing.
it reduces. It's also an enforcement in that the hauler sees it, you get a fine right away. And
How
so
does that
that's
not
how
happen
Upton does
now?
it.
Why
how
Why
does
they-
it not happen now?
Because there's no
I've
cost.
seen a lawn chair sticking out of a recycling
Because
bin.
nobody's paying the cost right now.
Really
Sellers just
now?
taking it.
Alright, okay, hold on. Are we all set now here? Are we ready to?
I
For
have
the
one,
record, 1650 out of 6,000, 1,650 respondents. That does not represent
No, it doesn't.
a big portion of this community.
It's a pretty good poll, though, I would say.
I just have one
From
more-
poll numbers, that's actually very good.
I only have one question.
I work in a poll field.
I just
I'm gonna
wanted,
mark it,
does,
I'm gonna write it down.
does
They're lucky
anybody,
to get
does
single
anybody
digits.
know where were the royalties from the dump, was that put into an enterprise fund?
I
Does
think
anybody
it's
know the
just-
answer to
I think
that?
it's just sitting in an account at the moment. 'cause
I know,
it's
but in its
Yeah.
entirety, it's never been touched, because it's in an enterprise fund to start up trash, right?
No, it's yeah, we have had to use some of it. over the
We've
years.
had to use some of
We've
it.
got something like 3.5.
But the
million,
idea behind it,
2.9.
I think that's the next agenda.
the idea behind it
It is.
was that the royalty fund was supposed to be for our trash startup, right?
No,
Nothing?
No. not
What was it for?
specifically.
royalty fund was an income for the town to use at its choice,
At its choice,
at its choice.
knowing that we would run out one day of free trash.
Okay, we're gonna wrap this up now. I'm gonna let the town manager have the final
Oh,
word.
and-
Well, no, I just wanted to let you know, I have
Yeah,
to
yeah,
go up
that's
to
good.
something else, so if you have any other questions for me, fine.
Well, she has numbers.
Thank you,
Okay, go ahead, and then we're going
Do
to,
we
I
know
think we're
when-
gonna take a vote.
right now.
Oh, I have the numbers for you, if I just want, I wanted to see if I just did dividing it by, but, so, yeah, so just so, this is, using this is, I've been using this model for other communities, it has worked, and I don't know why it keeps on
Okay,
going
split it
up.
out.
So we're just talking about tonnage, we're talking about cost, $90 per ton. We're talking about the solid waste collection, that's the guy going down the road. It's a salary for two different things. One is the salary for Board of Health, that's always in there. There is publicity, there is billing costs for a staff person for if you do the flat fee version. If you just do a flat fee, just by itself, then it comes out to $372 per unit. So if you have a 6 unit, then you times that by 6
Per year.
per year. Per year.
72.
Sign me up.
Yeah, I'm in, 75
Alright,
bucks
hold
a
on.
Check.
$31 a month.
Jesus.
Take my money now.
What are we doing?
Why are we arguing?
Finish up, please.
Why are we even continuing this discussion?
because we need the multifamilies to pay just a little bit more.
What's the next one?
So now,
They don't.
Hold on, let her finish, please.
okay, if you go with a flat fee and pay as you throw, so you have a $2 bag and a $1 bag. So people that only put out one bag, if the apartment, they pay for what they use. The landlord pays what they use to have the container.
Okay.
So that is 240 for the flat fee, and $156 if you use $1.5 bags per per year.
So it's actually more expensive?
It's just a little bit, but it ranges on how much you use. So
But
if you use
and it
more,
brings down our overall cost.
if you are using, so yes, it costs more if you do the average, but there are some people that the people that use more, if you go away, you don't pay for a bag of trash. If you, you know, if you're one person, you're probably only gonna use the smaller bag,
All
the
right.
15
Go ahead,
gallon bag.
Francine.
If you do
Oh,
a
I'm sorry.
full,
Hold on.
the
I thought she was done.
Okay, if you're doing the whole thing, the whole cost for the whole operation is $2.4 million you have to put on the tax base. So that's the other, if the taxes go up, then you have to do that. If you do an all encompassing, so a little bit in the taxes, a little bit in the things, then it is about it's a $220 flat fee, $156 for one bag, 1.5 bags per week, and then you put $225,000 in the tax base, like that. There's a portion in the tax base.
And you name your pothole on your hill.
What was the flat fee on that one?
220. So it's not that big of a difference, but if it's spread out for the thing.
$55 a
All right,
quarter.
I will.
Yeah, it'd be $55 a quarter. And if you are a senior.
Plus the bags.
Plus the bag, but if you're just a senior and you're doing, that's $1 of a kitchen bag.
It's still an
Okay.
additional.
I'm
Oh,
gonna,
and anything's additional if you're gonna pay $300.
I'm gonna go with Francine next.
Okay. So the first question I have is, because I've been looking at the billing cycle, it's been said that it's 1 through 4 family. Okay, but it's 7, up to up to 6 units.
Right.
7 units or more have their own dumpster on their land, such as Riverview Place has, I don't know, 42 units or whatever. They have a big trash dumpster.
Yep.
Okay? So, be clear on that the number, it goes from 1 family to 6 family, including condos that are single unit. Okay? My other thing, before I get to the billing part of it, I have talked to multiple people, not really my choice. They brought it to me. The survey, they didn't understand it. I must have had 7 people that told me they didn't return it because there was no dollar amount and they didn't understand it.
We just got
Number
the
2.
dollar amount tonight, so that's
Right,
why.
well,
Yeah.
they don't wanna come, anyway, I don't wanna go there. So,
That may have skewed the result.
right, so they said, you're gonna do what you're gonna do. Well, I said, I can't control it, I work for the town, I'm not the decision maker.
Okay.
The second thing is the black toters versus the green toters. A lot of people, or they're saying they called for extra toters in the health department and they can't get more black toters. I said, well, you're not supposed to. It's 1 per unit. Oh, I have 8. So this is the thing, those toters need to be marked, inventoried. You know, like my brother said, send out a letter to all homeowners to verify, this is the toter we have listed for you. Your black toter, your green toter, these are the numbers on it. Please confirm and sign. If you don't, you get a fine. You need to reply back to inventory this. And of course, all the single families are they're gonna comply.
Okay.
But the ones that don't send back the letter, then you follow up and go out there and inventory those toters.
All right.
For example, when we first got the toters, my 3 family, I had 6 black toters and 3 green. Why? I had to call the health department, not this staff, but previously, to get them removed. Previous employee from the health department followed a guy that had black toters on the back of his pickup truck and drove into Connecticut. The employee followed the guy into Connecticut
All right.
and went to his land, pulled in, and he confronted him. The guy gave him some kind of sob story that he was washing the toters out at his property. He says, you have a water spigot at your house, don't you, in Southbridge? Put those things back on your truck and bring it back to Southbridge by the end of the day.
And we have found,
Francine,
using.
just stick.
Right, so this is, the
Stick to the-
enforcement is the biggest thing.
All right.
But the other thing, other town people, they don't think it's fair to go, a 1 family pays the same as a 6 family or 4 family, 5 family, should be a graduated rate. that graduated or don't, whatever, but,
Again, that's not gonna be our decision to
no,
make.
but I'm just saying,
Right.
I'm not getting any feedback as to put it on the tax bill. I'm getting, a flat fee and the yellow bag, yellow, pink, purple, whatever, they, you know. Of course, most of them say yellow bags because, get this, they could bring them to Worcester. Okay? I have 4 people that told me that.
You can get them out of the health department.
Right, but that has to have our name on it. Big deal, how are they gonna check in? So that's the other thing. And granted, there's a camera on the thing, but how does it know
Okay.
that it's a Southbridge bag? Number one.
That's
So,
what I like,
As a
right?
label, but yeah, you got, you don't wanna have this cheap.
Right, but a
I think
yellow bag
that
is still a
theirs is
yellow
gonna be
bag,
more
they want it.
expensive, if we go with the $1 and $2, then Worcester's more expensive.
Right, so there you go, so
Are you
there,
all set?
okay.
So you wanna go with
So-
ours?
Are you all
And
set?
we did, quick thing is I did the testing or tried to with the Tyler Communications. I do not have the general ledger numbers, I could not test it for trash. I did all, there was all other things that had nothing to do with trash that are, you know,
Are showing
bumped
up.
ahead of it anyway. But then not having a GL leaves me dead in the water come this Monday to do testing.
Okay.
So,
And who
can't
had
test the
to, and
software.
who had to provide that?
Yeah.
The accounting and the town manager. Town manager
Thank
came
you,
to
Tom.
Rachel and said it's delayed.
All
So
right.
I can't, and I'm not, you know, I know I'm on camera, but it's very difficult to do my job if I'm not given the things I need.
Right.
All right.
So I'm saying to this committee, at this point, if I don't have a GLs on Monday, and even so, if I did, and I'm doing the testing, I still need more sessions with Tyler Communication to fix the software to test.
Okay.
And especially because I have to do import of all these files and create new accounts and create new services.
Well, the billing part of it will be something that will be in this cost benefit analysis that will be done. And then we will check it out, see if it should be done in-house
Right.
or whether it should be done by a private company. So
Right,
that's
but the
something
thing is, for
we
me to
won't
test
decide.
it, I need a quote from Tyler Communications, and we need a 3 to 4 month lead time to book the people I need to work with.
Okay,
We're already in March, April.
Yep.
It's not, I booked it in February, and my choices were either April or May.
all right.
So, you can't,
You know it's not your fault, Francine.
Yeah, no, don't worry about it.
We understand.
Well,
Is there a way to talk again to?
So if you have something new, Ms. Clemens, otherwise we're going to start voting here.
New,
Go ahead.
couple things, the thing I forgot to mention was hauler compliance. You know, we continually talk about, community compliance. I hope that somewhere in the contract is hauler compliance, because you talk about the cameras and everybody doing the right thing. But the haulers are 2 things. Well, the main thing about haulers is, I go out trash day, everyone's got their trash lined up. I come back, I see trash cans everywhere, because the haulers do what they want. We really need to have hauler compliance as well, so that
Yes.
our streets and our sidewalks are safe to transfer from, whether it's a person with disabilities or whether it's a mother with a carriage.
And
Just
as Ms. Congdon said at the last meeting, the hauler, that would be in the contract.
Right, I understand, I'm just mentioning it because we haven't had that to this date, so I'm bringing it up because that was what I forgot. But, as far as the money goes, with the numbers that if they are accurate, so I'm a little concerned, you know, up to 6 families, 7 or more, is the number wrong? So did we only compile up to 4 families, or did we compile up to 6, but it's really 4s? So
Six.
we did up to 6s, so therefore it's not up to 4s. So is our number correct in your calculation?
That's
that
to
you're
my
using?
knowledge, yes.
Okay, that's, because it was, you were talking 4 versus 6,
Except for
so
the
that could be an
damages.
overstated of
It's just an estimate too, I think, at this point.
Right, but 4 to 6 could be a big number.
No,
so-
yeah, I'm using the.
But again, at 372, I think you have room for wiggle there, just my opinion. As far as the compliance with that kind of number, you could hire 2 part-time, you could hire 2 extra people all for an entire year, and it wouldn't cost us that much more as a community to be on.
This money is expecting that you're having 2 people.
Right, but I'm saying you could, that's so low if you ask me a number. I know it's not low to everybody, but I'm just saying, if we really needed to have it, it's really not that much, you know, to stick on an extra $20 to us so that we can make sure our streets are perfect. But anyway, just saying. As far as the extra toters, very interesting comments there. But can we, and I've asked this way back, I asked about this, you know, if somebody has a house where they have, you know, they wanna pay for 2 toters a year, can they not opt in and pay for, just, you know, multifamilies opting in to pay? Can't they buy 2 toters and be charged twice? Why not?
I don't know that answer.
You know, I'm just saying, some people want 2 toters, they're gonna pay for the trash of 2 toters. Can they do that? That's something we should think
It's just
about,
negotiating
you
with
know.
the contract.
Well,
As long as you, I mean, I don't know if
You
that.
can have extra toters for recycling, but not for trash, right?
Right.
So,
Okay, but I'm saying if somebody wants to pay for extra trash,
They
I'm
do,
saying why
people,
can't they?
single-family homes do have multiple
Well,
trash
they,
barrels.
right, they illegally
Right now.
have them
Yes.
now.
By
I'm saying,
law.
But they're town one, so somebody from the town gave it to them. So how illegal is that?
no, but the point is going forward,
Yeah.
they're gonna be inventoried, they're gonna be feed
Yes.
by one.
Okay.
They can't have 2 being picked up if they're paying for 1.
All right.
I'm just saying, if they're inventoried and they're correct, can they not, can somebody not buy
So
2?
if they wanted to buy another $372 for
That's
another
what I'm
cart,
saying,
then,
that's what I'm
yeah.
asking. Is, will they put their,
I mean, that's like a two-family household. If they
right, so I'm
wanted to-
just asking, would that be an opt-in option, so to speak?
I think that would
Just
have
asking.
to be part of the rate structure.
except the
Yeah.
bylaw would need to be,
Updated, and which
Updated.
needs to be done for
Well, I would think
overflow
something's
cart.
gotta be updated, because this is a whole new
Ooh,
trash
no.
program.
well, the bylaw currently states that
One.
each household is,
We don't follow it now.
We don't
We also, I just finished, we also aren't paying for it, I mean, it's not, it's been free, so yes, and to quote a former counselor, you can have as much trash as you want, why are we being told not to? Okay.
All right, we're gonna vote then.
Wait,
Ms.
extra
Conlon.
voters, extra voters, okay, I think that's it, thank you.
All right. So we're gonna take a vote here on how you want to go with this. This is the recommendation that I am going to make to the town council on Monday night.
Could you just
We'll go
speak
around,
up?
we'll go around the room. First of all, how should we do this? Do you want flat fee or taxes, and then do you want to add bags, or do you want it all together?
I'd say we go with the flat fee, and if we need to add bags later on, we do it. Because the flat fee, like you said, was $372, that's not bad at all, it's real nice.
It
I mean,
allows us
if we
to
need
add
to have
bags
bags
later.
later on, we can get them.
It allows us
But I
to
use
add
clear
bags.
bags now, I like my bags.
So you're not in favor of bags at this point?
No, just the flat rate, you can't beat this with a stick.
All right,
I mean, this is great.
Steve?
I'm in favor of a flat fee and with an enterprise account, which I'm sure it would be.
Oh, enterprise.
Yeah. No bags?
I would agree to bags later. I think Kevin had a great idea.
All right,
Yeah,
go ahead.
flat fee with bags later.
same, flat fee with bags later.
All right. Kevin?
The flat fee, I would like to see an extended multifamily, if that can be worked out. Flat fee and future bags, I think.
All right.
You know how I feel, you need my vote.
Gotta put on record, Mark.
Flat fee and bags later.
So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 flat fee and no bags. I'm gonna stick with taxes and bags. Hold on now, we're not done yet, okay? Our next agenda item. No, as I said, this is the recommendation I'm going to bring to the council, okay? I told you when we started, I'm going to go to the council and tell them exactly what you're recommending. So our last agenda item is to make a recommendation to the town council on using other funds. I went to the ARPA committee tonight, I asked for some funds. Unfortunately, I had to come down here, so I never found out exactly what happened with that. Councilor Adams is here, go
Yeah,
ahead.
so right now, what we did was did an operational pause in the ARPA account. We did it for now, and we want to obviously use some of this money for the trash. So it's gonna be, about $380,000, I believe, on top of my head. They'll look at getting all the computer stuff taken care of, so right now, we'll hold off on $380,000. I know you looked at a couple people to hire on, and obviously some startup fees, so we'll hold that money for right now.
Okay.
All right.
And then the other thing is, do we want to recommend using some funds from the royalty account? That's what I have recommended that we look at. Go ahead, Mr. Gregos.
What do we say we had around
3.9.
3.9? I think it's a good idea to take a little bit out of the land for royalties. The reason I say that is a lot of people don't realize, it came up earlier, what that fund is for.
Right.
And it's for anything the town wants, I get that. However, I've got a unique perspective being in the water department. Casella and DP just installed water mains in Charlton. because of contamination coming
Yep.
from that landfill.
Yep.
That $3.9 million in the future is gonna be needed to possibly extend water lines in other parts of town as contamination spreads.
Yep.
Or possible lawsuits. We need to be careful not to pillage that account, or else we're gonna have to come out of pocket for it later. So I just warn everybody to try to fleece that account. You're borrowing from Peter to pay Paul, in my opinion, so be careful.
So what is your recommendation? $500,000?
Under $500,000. $500,000 or less, maybe a quarter. Just be careful, that's all I'll say, because I've seen where this goes.
All right.
That's all, thank you.
Kathy, did you wanna say anything on?
Council items, got his hand up.
Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm not opposed, like I told you, Mike, before, that maybe out of royalty, but I'd also like to see some of that money go back into the royalty. I agree with Steve at the same time. We've made it very clear at the council, we should hold on that money just in case of future lawsuits. That insurance money is now gone. So we gotta be really careful with it. If we could pay some of that money back with, down the road in a few years, that would be great as well. But I don't know if I would, my recommendation to the committee would be going, is this really what you already want to vote on this? Or do you want the town council to
Just
take a
a
look at that?
recommendation.
Do you have your numbers of what you really want to do to start off? Just hold off and say, but hold off for now.
All right.
Maybe you don't need that money,
Yeah, okay,
you know?
that's a good
Yeah.
point.
Future discussion.
It's a good safety net.
Yeah, if we took 385 out of ARPA, if we were to take another 120, that would get us to 500,000. That would give us almost a quarter's worth of payments for the hauler to get our first quarter of the payment coming in from the citizens. So that could be reasonable.
All right,
How soon can we get this to?
Counselor Steve, did you wanna say something?
No, I was thinking kind of along the same lines that Steve was thinking about, of maybe 500 grand. I would love to be able to use more, but I mean, we did see how expensive that last round of lawsuits was, and when we finally get it settled.
Council Steve, what would you think if we did this is like almost like a zero interest loan where the enterprise account agrees to put money back into landfill royalties over a 10-year period to make sure we have that money there in case we need it?
That's not a bad idea, actually. Would that be legal?
The
Would we be able to
the
do
only
that?
trouble is
I don't
know.
it's free money, the council can.
Charlie's gone.
All right,
The council.
This is just a recommendation, we're just
No.
talking.
No, I think he's got a point though. I mean, that we
He
don't
has a
want to,
point.
we don't want to raid, and there have in the past been times when people raided that account.
Do you just wanna lock it up somehow?
Lock
We
it
want
up.
to make
that-
sure it stays there in one place.
Correct.
The catch-22 is that it is not a revolving fund, it is not
Enterprise.
So what are we
it's
talking?
not an enterprise fund, it's just
Right.
an account.
Correct.
And we don't have any more money coming into it.
Actually,
Is it actually-
$100,000 a year for
Hold on.
gas
Yeah,
production.
Well, that's true, yeah, it's
So you all
actually
set?
67.
so your recommendation, we take a look at the royalty funds?
Well, I think
But
we can
not the whole
also,
amount.
I mean, I think we can do that. I think we should probably, I mean, we've talked about, at ARPA, we talked about the idea of scraping some of these other old accounts that might be worth looking at.
Okay.
But we also have so many other costs that we need, and I think we do need to be careful about taking all of this loose money and just kind of dumping it into one place if we may need it for other costs, because we will.
All right. I'm gonna go with you next, Kevin. What do you think of using some of the,
I think the users need to pay for the service. Like I said, if it's a situation, I don't see any advantage to, oh, let's grab 500,000 from here and, oh, wait a minute, how about if we take, a little from here and a
well,
little
this would
from
just be
here.
it for startup
But,
costs.
no, so I would say leave it as a safety net, and we need to walk on our own
All right.
and not have subsidized service.
And you, Mark, any opinion on it at all?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with Steve that, we need some money in case something really does happen. I mean, Steve was speaking about a real life situation. That wasn't a guess. He knows that happened. He knows the numbers, he knows what it cost us.
Okay.
And I just think that if we do it through an account like that, there has to be some way so that if something bad happens, somebody don't go dipping into that account, because it happens more frequently than not.
It has in the past.
Retirement plan
Well, one of
was.
I can add something to that. And one of the things we haven't yet discussed is the fact that we've got more than 5 million in stabilization.
Right.
And although that was, and obviously that's similar, under the similar circumstances where that's one of the quote unquote rainy day accounts that quite frankly we haven't used much
Yeah, it's
over the years.
good to keep some in there though.
We have to keep some, but I think this is something where maybe we want to seriously consider using a little bit,
All right.
not a lot.
Okay.
Because we will need it for other big things down the line. All of this is happening at the same time. That's the problem.
Daniel,
All right.
have anything?
I just swallowed it. It's not COVID. Don't worry.
So, is it safe to say that we want to explore it further, let the council decide
probably.
if they want to use some of the funds? And we won't make a recommendation at this
Sure.
time?
Yes.
Okay.
But I thought you were gonna start up the fee at least a quarter or more sooner anyway. So I'm confused as to why you need to dip in too much if you were going to start billing, say, in the fall.
Because we don't, there's some things that I'm not sure about,
You're
like,
gonna get the ARPA and then do that.
right. Yeah,
I mean,
good
can
point,
we
that's a good
legally-
point.
I
Can we
mean, isn't the
legally
idea,
bill
get
for-
this, get everybody who is billing up and running
Yeah.
and
Pre-bill.
start,
Yeah,
pre-bill,
pre-bill.
build the rainy fund.
Because
Yes.
we have
Can
free
we
garbage
legally
pickup
bill for
until
service
next
we
March,
already
that's
get?
why.
But don't wait till the
Why?
last
That
minute to
doesn't
start
make
paying.
sense.
Get
I
your
mean,
man
this
paid
is-
now.
You have to remember, the money that's going in, let me just
Right.
finish, the money that is going in, it's not like we're milking the community for something that isn't what you're just paying ahead for.
I get it, I understand.
So, you know, and down the road, if it ever
Can I go
stopped,
with you?
then you give it back, you stop billing for, you know, you get 3 months, it's that 3-month thing, it's that.
All right, I guess we're gonna wrap this up then.
That's what you should be talking about.
Counselor Adams, did you have something?
Yeah, I agree with Denise. I know we don't agree all the time, but I do agree with Denise over here. Because I will say this, is, the point is, that $380,000 should not be the first thing that's spent. It should be actually, if you're gonna bill them early, and obviously bylaws have to change, we have to, prove if we don't want this or not. Get a system going a little early, and then work, and if you need that 380, or we have to dip into a little bit of.
My concern is, and I'll tell you what my concern is,
Yeah.
we've been told we're gonna keep the toters. Are we gonna keep the toters? I don't know. So what if we have to buy toters? I know Anna
I have an extra one, I'll
Pelletier
give it
said
to
we're
you.
gonna keep the toters, but I don't know. It says Casella on there. If we don't go with Casella,
I'll give you my green
are
one.
we gonna have to buy
That'll be part
toters?
of that process of the contract going through.
All right.
Sticker.
We own the trash toters for sure.
Spray
Spray
cans.
paint.
Everybody gets an extra spray
I have
can.
an extra recycling.
All right, that's it for us. I think this is probably our last meeting. Thank you very much. If you can make it Monday night, I appreciate it.
7 o'clock, you said?
7 o'clock. Meeting adjourned.
All right.
Thank you.
All right.